Hi, friends. Happy Monday. I'm glad you could join me tonight for my Marvelous Monday Facebook Live. This is Angela with Wild Violets Art, and tonight I'm going to show you just a sampling of what I provide at my card buffets. So typically I have it towards the end of the month, and it'll be on the last or near the last Saturday of the month. This month it's the 23rd, so that people that have plans for the Labor Day weekend, the last hurrah before school gets going hot and heavy. Anyway, so if you're interested in joining me, you're welcome to. But I'm going to show you some of the cards that I provide as kits for you to put together. So these are just 3. Typically, I am providing about 10 or 12 different cards, and typically they are all different bundles. Now, I'm going to have a bunch of new product for the upcoming catalog. That means I'm going to have some samples that have to do with Christmas and the fall. So I hope that you'll join me. There's some really beautiful things that are coming. But tonight, I'm just showing you what I provided for July, and some of these will be available again at the end of this month or for the 23rd. So this is one that is from the Sentimental Framing, and then it combines the Extraordinary Flora washi tape and dies. So you can see that this card just is so beautiful, and it's got this really beautiful sentiment, and just kind of give you an idea of how 3D it is. So I've popped up the frame and added the florals around it, put the washi tape on the envelope just to add that really pretty element. I can still put my address here, my return address, and my address that it's going to. So just a really beautiful card. And then this one here is the Blooming Phrases, just a fun card that has this great little happy birthday. So it's happy, happy, happy birthday. Just really fun how it expresses just a real fun birthday wish. And then the last one here is the Sweet Blooms, and I've used this beautiful Glass and Gardens embossing folder. So I'm just going to see if you can possibly see that. So just a really beautiful card. And then, of course, we have these banners, which I love so much, and they just go so beautifully on these cards. And then a matching envelope as well. So when you come in, you'll find a bunch of these little baskets. So I know this is a little closer than maybe you want to be, but the basket will give you the dies that you need, maybe a couple of card samples. I'm not sure if you remember these cards from my prior Facebook Lives. So I usually try to show a couple of samples, but this was also one of the cards that I gave people an opportunity to make in my card buffet. I provide the dies that they need along with the ink pads. So the fun thing about this washi tape is it has a more of a purple pink and a bit of a red pink. And so I give them the option of choosing one kit or the other. A little bit of extra washi tape for them to decorate their envelopes. So you can see it's just everything you need, including just a look at the rest of the stamp set of the Sentimental Framing, what the dies look like, and the same thing with the Extraordinary Flora. I just make sure that you have a chance to see everything that would be included, so you can take a look and know whether you want it as well. And then for this one, the Sweet Blooms and the Glass and Gardens embossing folders, I include that. Your stamp is all set up, ready to go. Your stamp pad, the stamp set, what dies you need, and then again, a bunch of samples that you would be able to look at just to kind of get an idea. The DSP, here's one that would work really well with the Sentimental Framing. So this was a really beautiful bundle, and these are a bunch of the cards that we made or that I got in swaps with the Stamp and Share for Leaders here in Minnesota. And then for this card, again, I make sure that everything's already prepped. It's already on the blocks. And you've got the stamp pads that you're going to need, the ribbon. Here's a couple of samples that come with it. Aren't they pretty? And then, of course, the stamp set, and then your kit with everything already pre-cut and ready to go. Okay, so the first one that we're going to do is this Thinking of You from the Sentimental Framing. And you can see the Sentimental Framing is just chock full of wonderful sentiments. I had a couple of blocks in here that are for the sentiment. So we're going to use Thinking of You. You don't need anything else. But in case one of my customers wanted one of the other sentiments inside their card, I gave an extra block so they could do that. And then these are the dies. The die that we're going to be using today is this one, and it's the frame. And it's just a really beautiful set of dies. I can't wait to use this one right here. It's just like a little banner. Really beautiful. And I love all the little dots. And it just makes for a really exquisite card with all this detail. So really, really pretty. But today we're going to do the purple pink one instead of the pink one. So we're also using the Extraordinary Flora die that matches the washi tape. So I used this die to cut out these, and we're going to actually use all of them. And then for a layer, instead of the strawberry slush to frame this card, we're going to use the fresh freesia. Excuse me. So sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, so I've already cut this out, so I'm just going to pull out what I've already done. And then I have in the kit, so they have already in their kit, they should have a sheet with the washi tape on basic cardstock, and then they will have another piece. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and the ability for them to cut out the frame. And so I've already done that as well. And so let me just put these aside. And just as a reminder, this is what the Extraordinary Flora stamp set, and it matches perfectly with the washi tape design. So I leave it in here as well so they can just take a look at it. Okay. So I'm going to make an A2 card, and so I've got my thick cardstock base. I'll just braise this so that it's okay. Now I don't want to adhere this right away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be popping this up first, and then I'm going to be trimming around the edges. I don't have a punch that softens the edges. So once I have this adhered to it, then I'll come in and I'll trim it just to match, because this is just a little bit bigger than my die. So if I recall correctly, yeah, this is, so this is actually 5 1/2 by 4 1/8. And the reason I had to do it 5 1/2 is because this frame, I wanted to have the fresh freesia all the way around it. So it's a little different than what I typically do, but I still wanted that little 1/8 inch or 1/16 inch all the way around. Okay, so we'll use our mini dimensionals and just add some dimensionals. I want 2 in every corner, and then I want 2 around the middle, and I'll just kind of keep doing that all the way around. And I am trying to place these so that they are not interfering with the little dots, because I don't really want the dots to get covered up. And that way it shows the Fresh Freesia cardstock from behind. Now, I know that I've been absent an awful lot this summer, but we've just had so many family things that we've been doing, and so it's been a lot. And then work has gotten a little bit more complicated because they've asked me to be in a meeting that interferes with my Friday scrapbooking and scripture Facebook Live. So from now on, I'm going to have to just do everything on Monday. And it also will give me some time to make sure that I'm taking care of my business. So thank you for your patience. So next Monday will be my scrapbooking and scripture. And so I'll have something beautiful for you because I've got all kinds of new product coming in tomorrow. That is part of the pre-sale. Hey, Linda. Thanks for joining me tonight. So all this pre-sale stuff is coming in tomorrow for not only the online exclusive, but also for the new little mini catalog that comes out in September. So we have some online exclusive and the mini catalog, and both of them have really beautiful fall and Christmas stamp sets and suites. So, and bundles. So you can see I'm not being really particular. I'm just trying to kind of get it to follow the curve of my corner. It's not exact, but I think it's good enough. Now I can glue it down. Okay, so just as a reminder, this is actually the multi-purpose glue, but I put it in an empty bottle so that I could use it for just squeezing and going. Now I haven't used this in about a week, so it may be having a hard time coming out. I think if I had a choice of doing it again, I would probably not, because I don't like the sharp edge on that. So once it is used up, I will most likely go back to my good old trusty Tombow multi-purpose glue. So, okay, so I'm just actually now centering it between the top and the bottom because it lines up with the edge of both my sides. Okay, so now this piece, which was cut out of the middle when I cut out the frame, I'm going to stamp my sentiment on. And I'm going to stamp it a little to the right because I want room to add a big floral bouquet over to the left. So we're just going to stamp over towards the right. It's a really beautiful sentiment. I love the font as well. All right, so now I'm just going to glue that down. In the middle, and it's not going to be popped up because I want my florals to be able to pop up a little bit. Okay, so typically, you know, I'm going to have a floral here and maybe a floral up here, and I'm just going to keep layering until I get the look I want. Now you want to make sure that you're not overlapping into an area that you don't have any room. So in other words, I don't want it to go outside the card edge. So I'm just going to keep adding till I get the look that I like. And I think I had this one up here as well. And then this one kind of curved around. And then I started poking in other little things. So let's go ahead and just get started on getting these in. Okay, so I'm just going to put one big one here. And then I'm going to put a big one here. and then just cover it up with my florals. And then I can use assorted little ones and big ones that will pop off the frame. So I'm going to have all kinds of dimension here. Let's see. And then this one, so you can just see that you just continue to layer until you have kind of the bouquet look that you're looking for. And some of them are going to need glue dots. So just adding a little extra foliage right there. Okay, so let's put another big one up here. And I just kind of keep stuffing. Now, if you want, you can also add something to the inside. So maybe I'll do that with this one. And then, let's see. This one, I believe, I had down here. Hopefully I'm not working off camera. And then just pop up another little flower here. And this one I can just tie in right here. And I think that's enough foliage. But it ends up being so pretty. And then of course I have in each kit the embellishments that they'll need. And they can just be placed wherever you feel like they should be. And we're done. With the card, that is. Okay, so next I'm going to be, let me get my little ladybug. Somewhere under my desk is another ladybug that I'll probably find someday when I move my big cabinet. I had some help from my husband that didn't realize I had all kinds of things that were easily able to land on the floor. Okay, so now I can choose to put the washi tape here, or I can put it across my envelope flap. So let's just let's do that. So this one is red and I want purple. So I'm going to put this on a clear piece of window sheet that I get out of my photopolymer stamp sets. And that means I can lift it up and I can use it for something else. So I'm just going to place it in here for now. And that way I have the colors that I want. have a little bit of the other color, but just line it up with my envelope flap score line where it folds. And then, so I'm going to be careful and I'm going to cut it down here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut around and then I'm going to add this to the front of my card. So I should probably do it from this side. And I think this would still be able to mail. If not, you could put it in a protective sleeve and then it can go through the hand stamped part of the post office. Okay, so now on the front, I can take the remaining part of washi tape and I can just put it right down here at the bottom of my envelope. And then I have a really beautiful envelope that's decorated to match. So this is just one of the cards that I have for my monthly buffet, and I just wanted to show you how beautiful they are, because it's not like just something that, you know, that you wouldn't want to send to someone else. So here's a beautiful example that is just an alternate color using the washi tape and the Extraordinary Flora. So beautiful. Okay, so that's that one. And then there's this one with the sweet blooms. And again, I've got the embossing folder that I'm going to need. The stamp set is here, but I already have the stamp already lined up, how it's going to be. And then, of course, I've got the dies that are needed. And then again, I've got a bunch of samples that people get to look at to get an idea of what this bundle or what the stamp set can create. Okay, so I've got my kit. And everything I'll need. This includes the embellishments, the ribbon and the embellishment. So, okay, so the first thing I need to do is I need to die cut out this banner, and I'm going to choose the location that I like the best. And then this one is going to take, and so this is the, let's see, the Sweet Blooms. Trying to remember what the DSP is called. It's not coming to mind, but anyway. All right, and then I need my embossing folder. So I'm going to do the embossing first. And this is Secret C, and this is Bubblegum, or Bubble Bath. I think we had another color that was called Bubblegum years ago. And so this is going to go down the right-hand side of my card. So I'm not going to put it in the middle. I'm going to have it over to one side. So this line is really great for lining up so that you can get it to be where you want it. So I'm going to do it more towards the right side of my card. So this is not a 3D embossing folder, so you would need plate 1, plate 2, and plate 4 of your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So that would be your sandwich. So isn't that beautiful? I just love this. And I love the Secret C. It's so gorgeous. Just a really beautiful navy blue. Okay, now let me put my other plates in place. And I just love the banners. They are so beautiful and versatile. And this card is just very easy and comes together really nicely. Not a lot of complicated parts. Okay. And then just each person takes a kit, just one at a time, and makes it really easy so the next person can put their card together. Okay, so this is again an A2 card base, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 in basic white thick. And then I am going to glue this piece down. And now this is 4 1/8 by 5 1/4, or 5 3/8. Okay. And then I want this to be staggered like so. And so I'm going to wrap my ribbon around, and I want to stamp my sentiment here. So this is going to be not straight up and down. I want them to have a little bit of an angle. And so based on that is how I'm going to stamp my sentiment. Okay. So I know that this is going to be my card. So I want my sentiment to be straight. And I've just got a little leaf here. Move this over just a little bit so that my sentiment is parallel to what I need. Get this cleaned up real quick. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to glue this down so that it stays in place. And then I'm going to get my ribbon out. So usually there's snacks, so I encourage my guests to come hungry. My class starts at 11 o'clock on the 23rd, or not class, but card buffet, and it goes until 4 o'clock. And you can come when you need to and leave when you need to as well, so there's no pressure. But starting in September, I'm going to need the class to start at noon, because I'm going to be facilitating a grief share. Now, just as a reminder, whenever I am trying to tie a bow, I like to put a glue dot down so that I can get that to stay in place, and see it's nice and tight, and now I can leisurely put my bow together. There we go. And then just trim it to the size you wanted. And now I'm going to pop this up using my large dimensionals. And I'm going to put them where they hold the ribbon in place as well. This would have been a good opportunity to use my black dimensionals, but I never seem to remember until I'm nearly done. Okay, so I wanted this to be parallel, so I'm going to make sure that my sentiment is parallel to the bottom of my card. And then now I can add my embellishments. Oops. Very simple little sweet card. And now we're just going to do the envelope flap. Whoops, I need to be putting the glue on my envelope. And Make sure it lines up with the top of my envelope. Then I can come back and trim away. Just like we did the washi tape. And while this DSP isn't exactly the same, it matches pretty well. So it's just a great combo. There we go. That's the next card. All right, so the final card is this fun Blooming Phrases card. A little more complicated, but just stamping. And then, of course, we have these really beautiful samples that I provide, and I just wanted to show you this great card. So she had 3 layers. Isn't this beautiful? This was done by Brenda Springer. She did a beautiful job. So cute. And then this one here, let me just get this out. This one was done by Liz Schultz. So she used a little bit of the lemon lolly, I think, and just kind of made a little background. And then she had this embossed piece here in the front. The card, just real simple little design, but really pretty. Okay. So we're not using all of the stamp set, but I just wanted to show you how fun the stamp set has. It has all these really fun sentiments. And then these little tails are really fun because you can decorate them with all these different things. So let me just show you what I did and how I did this. So I've got birthday on one, and I've got happy. And then I've got the little leaves and flowers that I'm going to use to create these flowers here. And also these here. So it makes for a really pretty card. And then, of course, up my envelope. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is my little happy in garden green. So I've got this little piece here that I'm using, and this is 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. And we're going to stamp this 3 times, and we're going to start with one in the middle. Let's make sure I have everything lined up. So I want one stamp in the middle. And then I want one in the middle of that to the left, and one in the middle of that to the right. And it looks like I've cut off the H a little bit, but you can still see what it is. It's never perfect. All right. Now, this is the tricky part. Let's see. We want a couple of leaves going up. We'll save this because we're going to use it again. All right, now using Petunia Pop, we're going to make our flowers. Okay, so the one in the middle is this one here, and it's just one stamp and it's done. Okay, then for this flower, something's on my, okay, so I stamp it, I stamp it off, and then I'm using the corner of my stamp to ink up the middle of my flower so that it's dark. I want the middle of my flower to be darker. See how I did that? So it just gives me another color, yet it's all coordinating. So again, I stamped it or inked it up, stamped it off, and then used the corner, just so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm using the corner of my stamp pad to make the middle of my flower dark. And there we go. Okay, so we're done with that one. And I think we're done, yep, with the petunia pop. All right, so now these get layered on the garden green, and then on the petunia pop. So the garden green is 3 7/8 and by 2 7/8. And then my petunia pop is 4 inches by 3 inches. And then I have this piece here, which is 3 inches by 4 inches. And it just lets me use as much of my DSP as possible, especially when I'm doing a card buffet. So it gives me an opportunity to make a bunch of kits from a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. So I have here for my card base, it's an A2 card, but it's 11 inches by 4 1/4, and then I scored it in half. And so that it makes a card that opens this way. Sometimes I like to just change things up. Now the first one I'm going to put down is this. And it'll just go over, and I'll make sure that my borders on the top, right, and bottom are the same. And then this piece will just fit in right here next to it, and I'll make sure those borders are the same. Whoops, I can see I forgot something, which was the ribbon. So before I lay this down, I need to lay my ribbon about right there. And then I can lay this down. Making sure again that my borders on the top, left, and bottom are pretty close to the same. And then I'm just going to move my ribbon down so it doesn't get in the way of my flowers. Normally I would recommend that you place your ribbon first before you get the glue on there. Okay, so once again, I'm going to put a glue dot in the middle. I'm going to get my knot set up so everything's nice and tight, and then I don't have to work so hard to get my bow in the right place. And if you're wanting to know how to do my bows, feel free to take a look at my YouTube channel, and I have a video called Bows, 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 and I show you a bunch of different bows, how I get my bows to turn out so nicely each time. I just try to keep it really consistent, and that way I get the results I want. Okay, looks like I didn't give that one quite enough of an angle. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to embellish with some dragonflies. Looks like I just bent a little dragonfly tail. And there we go. Okay, so now for the inside piece, I have another piece of cardstock, and this is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and we're going to stamp that so that it matches this. So now I've got birthday, and I'm going to need my garden green again. And I just want the birthday so that the whole sentiment, including the tail, is centered on my piece of cardstock. And then I will take my pool party, and I have these little 3 blooms, and I am just going to alternate these flowers down the stem. And then one more little flower on this side. And then I come back with the little leaves. And then before I put that away, I'm going to need that again for my envelope. So doing the same thing, but without the line, I'm just going to stamp, and I'm going to alternate back and forth so that it doesn't look like the same stamp going all the way down. So you can see that I'm twisting my hand back and forth on my envelope. And then just adding, whoops, wrong color. Just adding a little leaf here and there. And that's it. That's how you keep yourself from having a naked envelope, and it coordinates with your card. All right, so now I'm going to glue that onto the inside of my card, and I've got my happy birthday. And it still leaves room to send a message. So just a cute card. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed just seeing what it is that I use for my card buffet and just some of the kits. And I hope that you're able to join me on the 23rd of August for my upcoming one. Again, I'll have some new product, and so some cards and some sample boards. And just to kind of give you an idea of what the sample boards look like, this is what I use for my sample board. So I'll put like 2 or 3 cards, and then I'll put some beautiful DSP, coordinating cardstock, and then what it looks like to stamp them. And then you can see here, there's like a 3D element. Some of these are popped up, so you can see that they match the stamp sets, but also the same dies match the DSP. So this is kind of what I do. Oh, thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. And so we've had some really great card buffets with some great stuff. So just a reminder, it's going to be some of the stuff that has come out recently with the annual catalog and the online exclusive, and then some new online exclusive product that is coming out here in the 1st of September, along with the new mini catalog for the fall. So can't wait to see you. Have a great evening. Again, it's Angela with Wild Violets Art. If you missed my Facebook Live and you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe and share with a friend. Thank you so much. Thanks, Amy. I look forward to seeing you as well.